Rick Keegan, 10 Eyewitness News.
Senna, teammates by profession, enemies by personality. Between them, they've won 11 of the 15 races so far this season, and they're all set to make it 12 in Japan 2 weeks ago, when their bitter rivalry came to a head just 5 laps from the finish.
This is the opportunity that Senna's looking for, and he's going through. Ouch! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. They meet. This is what we were fearing might happen.
It was a collision that cost both of them the race, and one of them the World Championship. On 9's Wide World of Sports this weekend, there are scores to settle and points to prove, as the two maestros of McLaren get set to sort out their differences on the streets of Adelaide. It's the 5th Australian Formula One Grand Prix, and what a wild weekend it promises to be. Hello and welcome to Adelaide. Well, what a race we've got for you this weekend. It's got more drama than you'll find in Dynasty. It's got more drama than you'll find in any soap opera on television right now. And the man who knows exactly what's going on has got all the inside information. Welcome, Jackie Stewart. We have got plenty, haven't we?
Ken, there's been more press conferences and more action of words than we've ever seen on the track here at Adelaide, and that's about to finish. Because most of the people who have been doing the talking, that's been Ron Dennis, the head of McLaren, and of course Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, have said that they're going to cease talking now and start driving. There's a lot of conflict in the sport right now because of what happened at the last Grand Prix in Japan, but I think they're now down to business, and I think we're going to see an excellent Grand Prix once again this year here in Australia.
But it does give it an edge, doesn't it?
There is an edge. There's an edge in the public. There's certainly an edge in the media. And I think there's an edge in the drivers, and that goes for good racing. OK, Jackie, look forward to your comments throughout the programme tonight. Right now, though, we're going to the free practice session, the first official one for 1989. Let's join our commentators, Murray Walker and Alan Jones.
Thanks, Ken. And there is the bright and glorious sight of Nigel Mansell, followed by Eddie Cheever and the rest, emerging from a sunlit pit lane for the first full 30 competitors practice session for Sunday's Australian Grand Prix. The pre-qualifying has been completed. The two Osella drivers, Larini and Ginzani, have gone through, together with Philippe Alliot and JJ Leto, making up 30 with the other 26 who do not have to pre-qualify. And now the circuit is new for everybody here this year. They have not been able to do any pre-testing at Adelaide as they do at many of the other circuits. So everybody will be out there as soon as possible to see what things are like this year.
Thanks, Murray. Well, we're seeing a lot of firsts this time and a lot of lasts. We're seeing the Ferrari with number 27 and 28 for the last time. Of course, next year they're going to have the number 1 and 2, and they're going to be without Berger, but they're going to gain Alain Prost.
Indeed. Alan, how would you expect a V8 engined car like the two we're looking at, the Frenchman Jean Alesi and Nannini there, to go here in comparison with the V12 Ferrari and the V10 Hondas and Renaults?
Well, they're obviously a little bit more down on horsepower than the V10 and the V12. The V8 should have slightly better pickup, a little bit lower torque than the V10 and the V12s. They seem to get their power by higher revs, and they've got slightly longer legs. So the V8 could actually give everyone a bit of a shock here in Adelaide, and particularly the Benetton, because it also likes tight, twisty circuits.
But, Alan, we're not really looking for tremendously fast times here, because this is a work session for the drivers, this 1.5 hours.
It's very much a have a look and have a see and have a fiddle with a car. They're going out there now just to play with compounds, play with constructions, set up their suspension, set up their aerodynamics, make sure the gear ratios that they're predetermined are the right ones. It's become so sophisticated today, they can actually look at a circuit, look at a computer. The computer tells them within a very close range what gear ratios they should have in, and they can almost tell by the computer what average lap times they should be doing, giving those gear ratios on the circuit. So this morning will be used for setting the car up for this afternoon's qualifying, but towards the end of this morning, when they're reasonably happy with their setup, they will probably go out with a set of qualifiers just to see what they're like on this particular circuit. And because, as you know, this afternoon they're only given 2 sets of tyres, so they've got to be spot on to get the good time.
Hello,
oh,
there.
Hello, it's
There's
Modena.
Stefano Modena. Now, he's got a lot of experience, and he's trying to find the limits of the car, and he's apparently succeeding.
Well, he didn't muck about. He spun it. I think he got it into first gear while he was spinning and got going again. So that was a good effort.
Thierry Boutsen getting going, the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix. He's in an FW13 Williams. That's the new car. It's had the thing, frankly, that a lot of teams dread, and that's introducing a new car partly through the season. It's got a very good engine with the Renault 10-cylinder, which doesn't have quite the power, but is extremely reliable. But the chassis needs... Oh, my goodness, you can see how difficult that chassis is to drive. It's very twitchy and very sensitive and very difficult to set up. Someone's knocked his nose cone off.
I think it's
Cesaris.
Yeah.
Yes. There's the proof. Half a nose cone.
Andrea's getting stuck into it early on in the piece.
Look at it, look at it, look at his left front wheel and his... Let's, you and I, stick our necks out, Alan, and give the viewers something to criticise us about by making a forecast about what the fastest time at the end of this 90-minute session will be. You go first.
Oh, thank you, Murray. I would say they'll be low 16s. 1 minute 16.
Wow. I was going to say 1 minute 17.4, so I better say it. And it's 1 minute 18.1 at the moment. Nigel Mansell has moved up to second fastest now, ahead of his teammate Gerhard Berger, 1 minute 18.2, which is only 1/10 of a second currently slower than Senna. But as Alan and I have both just confidently said, we think there's a lot more to come. 1 minute 18.1, there is Derek Warwick. Oops, off he goes. Now there's some damage to be repaired for Derek Warwick's arrows. And Ayrton Senna coming through very shortly to complete the lap over the line. Now let's see what the time is and whether there's any improvement on the 1:18.1 as Derek Warwick hops out of the arrows. And I don't think Senna's time was, in fact... Yes, it was. 1 minute 17.749. And that makes him fastest by half a second again. It's the first time under 1 minute 18 seconds. And you're looking at Derek Warwick's crumpled arrows.
That's what you call terminal understeer, Murray.
Here he is. 1 minute 17.749 is his own fastest lap time.
The McLaren looks very steady over those bumps. It's got these shock absorbers, which the front ones, when they go across the bumps, have got the ability to tell the rear ones that, look, I've just gone over a little bit of a bump, and the rear ones adjust automatically in hundreds and thousands of a second, and that, of course, makes the car ride a lot smoother, and then the driver just has to concentrate on lines.
Fastest again. Another 3/10 off his previous fastest time. Martini goes up into second place. This is amazing. Pierluigi Martini, the little Italian who's come back to Grand Prix racing after having been out in Japan with damaged ribs, is second fastest to Ayrton Senna, ahead of Mansell. Nannini has gone up to fourth fastest. We're getting the reshuffle that we've been predicting, but Pierluigi Martini is undoubtedly, with Leto, one of the Fines and Alesi of 1989, and he's second fastest. The Glenn Dix has the checkered flag out. The session is finishing. There he is.
Okay, Murray, double or nothing for qualifying?
1 minute 17.4 is... there's not many times I beat a world champion, but I seem to have done it this time. And Ligier have got a lot of work to do on Olivier's car. So, to summarise, at the end of the first major practice session for the 1989 Australian Grand Prix, unsurprisingly, Ayrton Senna, the world champion of 1988, is in the leading position, 6/10 of a second faster than the superb Pierluigi Martini in his Minardi.
Well, that's the first free practice session out of the way. A couple of surprises there. No surprise with Senna, but Martini coming in second. And, of course, Prost down in ninth spot. Right now, Darrell Eastlake is talking to the young Italian driver.
Pierre, congratulations. You've had to qualify first and now very fast time. Yeah, I am happy, and we have beginning now to work in the car. I have some problem in the car, and I think that I can do better for tomorrow.
What is the reason for the car and you going so quickly at this end of the season? Just a lot of development work?
We have worked a lot with Pirelli and with my engineering of Minardi team, and we have I think that we have worked very well, and we are very happy of this result.
Congratulations, great drive.
Thank you very much.
Well, why wouldn't Martini be happy? He surprised everyone here today.
Very happy man indeed. It's a remarkable performance. I think a lot of it's down to his tyres, however. I think they've got a very hot qualifying tyre, Pirelli, but nevertheless, he's driven very well, and the chassis must be good too.
And Prost?
Well, I'm disappointed by Prost being down in 9th. I expected a little more out of him, but you can never count him out. He's a very intelligent racing driver, and I think you'll see a lot more of him this weekend. I was not at all surprised, of course, about Senna. I fully expected him to be up the front end.
Okay, we'll be back with more right after the break. Jackie Stewart in a supercart.
Well, what you're looking at here is the breeding ground for every Formula One Grand Prix driver on the grid today. Most of them have been national champions, many of them been world champions. It's from this formula that you should be looking towards the future drivers. Within 2 years, Jackie Stewart will have a racing team with SuperKarts, because if we're looking for young drivers of the future, I'm going to have to come here. This is where it is. There's no suspension, slick tyres, same as a Formula One car in so many ways, and very similar in handling and driving position.
Around this circuit, they are 3 seconds faster than Super A's and 20 seconds below Formula One.
Not with me behind the wheel.
Okay, right now let's join Murray Walker for the SuperKarts.
Thanks, Ken. Well, this is going to be something like you have never seen before, because these are miniature Formula One cars. 250cc twin-cylinder engines, 82 brake horsepower, 150 miles an hour, 200 kilograms, and their handling is absolutely incredible. In pole position, the Swedish driver, Stefan Rinström. Next to him, Pentti Kuisman, who is another of the top Continentals. He comes from Finland. Then in row 2, 2 of Australia's best, Paul Lawson and Les May. Behind them, Darrell Belsky and Glenn Robertson. And in row 4, Paul Stebbing and Gerard Siebert. Look at them. They have fairings on them, the driver's feet stuck right out in front. The engine is alongside them. Tiny little slick tyres and wheels, virtually no brakes, and as I said, they dart about the circuit like fireflies at up to 150 miles an hour. Look for the green, that's it, away they go. It's a super start by Kuismanen. Up into second position goes Australia's Les May, number 22, and Kuismanen leads through the chicane. Are they all going to get through? Well, there's one who nearly didn't, and that was David Gower in the Zip Bandit Rotax engines, twin-cylinder, and Kuismanen is already putting a big gap between himself. Up into second position goes Peter Woodgate in the Anderson Rotax, and look at the way Kuismanen is sliding the cart as he goes round the right-hander up to the left, and Kuismanen is in a Zip Eagle Rotax. It's a motorcycle racing engine. Now we have a race on our hands, because Rinström in second place is moving up. The gap was 2 seconds, and Kuismanen looks over his shoulder. He realizes that his arch rival is closing up on him, and the arch rival is Rinström, the man from Stockholm, who's only been in this category for 2 years. And there's a battle behind. Look at this spin. That's a major spin, and going out there, that was Robert Stewart from Queensland in the Anderson Rotax. He's lost it completely. He's lost his rhythm. He's lost his grip. But these two are going for it down the straight at nearly 150 miles an hour. In the lead, number 51, Pentti Kuismanen. Behind him, Stefan Rinström, but how much longer is Rinström going to be satisfied with that second place? He comes out from behind the wing of Kuismanen, and he takes the lead. Well, that is an incredible performance. We're on the half distance, lap 5. How time flies when you're enjoying yourself. And those two certainly are. Now, this is it. A change for the lead again. Up into the lead goes the man who took it at the start of the race, Pentti Kuismanen, but Rinström fights back. Well, gosh, I wish all Formula One Grand Prix were as competitive as this at the front. This is great stuff. They look like 1/6 scale Formula One cars, and the lead has changed for the 3rd time. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And this time, it's Stefan Rinström from Sweden in the Anderson Rotax, 27 years old. 14 years he's been racing since he was 13 years old. We're on lap 6. It's a 10-lap race, and it's going to be anybody's guess as to which of these two finishes first. But just for the record, to tell you that there is something happening behind, in 3rd position, it is still from the state of Victoria, Les May. In 4th position, it's Gerard Siebert from South Australia. In 5th position, it's Paul Lawson, who had trouble getting away at the start of the race. And in 6th position, you can see on your caption there, number 12 is Peter Woodgate. And this is lap 6. Let's just sit back and enjoy the action for a moment. Look at this, round the left-hander, absolutely together. 48 is Rinström, the champion of Scandinavia, of Sweden, of European.
Beautiful manoeuvre.
Yes, terrific stuff. Pentti Kuismanen goes through into the lead to complete the lap. He's leading now by 1.5 seconds. That's more than he has been for some time. And we are on lap 8, that's 3 laps to go, including the one that they are on.
Being as Europe is the home of the 250cc Grand Prix racing, and there's the Aprilia factory, which is one of the most...
does it, Barry?
Oh, no, he really has done it now.
My goodness, there's contact. Rinström's lost it. But unlike the Grand Prix cars, he's managed to keep it going. And I'm sure his dander will be really up now. Red mist blazing before his eyes. Rinström has lost it. Up into the lead now by a considerable margin goes Pentti Kuismanen from Finland in the Zip Rotax. And we are about to start the last lap in this really captivating race, as number 48, Stefan Rinström, the Swede, laps 1. He's about to lap 2 or 3 others. There's one of them because he's just gone past Robert Harris, who is the one-armed kartist. You saw him in the background there. This is the vital one, number 48 in the 250cc twin-cylinder kart, SuperKarts. These are the men that go on to become the Grand Prix drivers of tomorrow, not Pentti Kuismanen. He's left it a bit late at 43 years old, but there's time enough for Stefan Rinström. But first, he intends to win this race, and he hasn't got very much longer to go. And the leader comes out of Foster's hairpin, and the winner, lifting his arm in victory, is Stefan Rinström in the Anderson Rotax, just ahead of Pentti Kuismanen in a really cracking race. And if Sunday's Formula One Grand Prix of Australia is as good as that, as exciting as that, as competitive as that, I will be absolutely delighted as we wait for the first Australian to come through in 3rd position, and it should be Les May in the Zip Rotax. It is Les May. So, the results of the SuperKart race here at Adelaide: victory for Stefan Rinström, 2nd Pentti Kuismanen from Sweden and Finland respectively, with in 3rd position Australia's Les May in the Zip Rotax. Great stuff.
Well, what a fantastic SuperKart race that was, and if Formula One is half as good, we're going to have a beauty on our hands. We've got more from the Adelaide Grand Prix right after this.